Welcome to another deep dive with us. This time we're taking a look at Chapter 4, Persons and Situations from, you guessed it, the 8th edition of The Personality Puzzle.
Always a classic.
It really is. And this chapter gets right into this question of like, okay, how much does my personality actually matter in what I do versus like the situation I'm in? Like, is it me or is it everyone else?
Yeah, that's the big debate, right? And this chapter really digs into that. But to even start talking about that, we got to kind of lay the groundwork with this thing called the trait approach.
Okay, so the trait approach, is that like, are we talking about like shy, outgoing, agreeable? We've got all these words we use for people, right?
Exactly, yeah. In fact, this chapter points out there are over 17,000 trait words in English.
Wow.
Yeah, wild, right? So clearly, we as humans are kind of obsessed with these individual differences. And the trait approach basically says it's less about like how shy you are on some absolute scale and more about how shy you are compared to other people.
Oh, so it's all relative.
Right, it's about comparison.
Okay, that makes sense. But then, like, here's where I always get tripped up. If you were going to predict how someone's going to act just based on their personality, you're going to find exceptions.
Oh, for sure.
Right. Like, we all know people who, depending on where they are, who they're with, they act totally different.
Totally. And that's kind of what fuels this whole person situation debate, because some psychologists, they're called situationists, and they said, wait a minute, those inconsistencies mean personality doesn't mean anything. It's all about the situation.
So wait, they're saying, like, my personality is an illusion. I'm just reacting to whatever's going on around me. That seems a little extreme.
It does sound pretty extreme. And this chapter, it does a really good job of like laying out both sides of the argument. So the situationists, their main points were basically that personality's impact on behavior is so small it doesn't matter, that situations are way more powerful, and then that our everyday judgments of people's personalities are basically wrong.
Okay, so hold on. I'm not really buying that whole, like, we're all wrong about people thing. I feel like we use these words all the time, and they seem to work pretty well, right?
Right, there's got to be some truth to it. And the chapter, it goes through some pretty good counter-arguments. So first of all, some folks push back saying, wait, the situationists, are they only picking research that supports what they're trying to say?
Oh, cherry-picking the data.
Yeah, like how do you summarize a whole field of research fairly?
Right, right. Okay, so what else did they say back to the situationists?
Well, even if we say, okay, fine, personality only predicts behavior like 40% of the time.
That still seems like something.
Right, it's not nothing. The chapter gives us example. Like, imagine a company could predict, even with 70% accuracy, who's going to succeed in a training program based on personality. They would save so much money.
Oh, on wasted resources.
Totally. So that 40% correlation, it might sound small, but it actually has big real-world implications.
That makes sense. 40% is way better than just, like, flipping a coin. But, okay, so the situationists said situations were more powerful. But how do they even measure that?
That's where it gets interesting. For a long time, they kind of just assumed it. Like, if personality accounted for 16% of the variance in behavior, whatever's left over, that 84%, that must be the situation.
But that's not really measuring the situation, right? It's just saying whatever's left, that must be it.
Exactly. And luckily, there is a way to kind of more directly measure the impact of situations. And the chapter talks about how some researchers used experiments from social psychology.
Oh, like those classic ones, like the Milgram said.
Exactly, like Milgram's obedience study, where they had people giving those electric shocks, intense stuff. When researchers reanalyzed that data, you know what they found. The impact of the situation, like how close the authority figure was, it was actually pretty similar in size to that 0.40 correlation we see with personality.
So situations do matter, but it's not like they're the only thing going on.
Right. Personality is still in the mix.
Okay, so this whole consistency thing, it's not about acting the same way every time, is it? Because that's just impossible.
Yeah, you'd go crazy. That's where a lot of the confusion comes in. It's not about being exactly the same. It's about those relative differences staying pretty consistent.
Oh, so like, even though I might be more talkative at a party than, I don't know, at the library,
Right.
I'm probably still more talkative than the quietest person in both places.
Exactly. It's those individual patterns that persist. There's this study the chapter talks about. They had people talking with different partners on 2 different occasions.
Okay.
And people were definitely more relaxed the second time around, so you see the situation having an effect. But their individual differences in like how talkative they were, how shy, all that, it was still really consistent across both sessions.
So we can kind of like adapt to the situation without completely losing who we are.
Exactly. Which brings us back to, are we actually good judges of personality? The situationists said no, but with all this evidence, maybe we're not so bad after all.
I mean, we do have thousands of words to describe people for a reason.
Right. It clearly matters to us to understand these differences. Yeah.
So it's not just some like abstract concept. It sounds like personality actually impacts our lives in some pretty big ways.
Absolutely. It's not just about passing psych test. It's about how our lives actually unfold. This chapter talks about research showing that personality traits are linked to things like happiness.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Relationships, how well you do at work, even how long you live.
So those little ways were different. They actually add up and create these totally different paths for us.
They really do. And that's why this whole person situation debate is so important. It's not just some academic thing. It's about understanding these fundamental forces that are shaping our lives.
Okay, so both matter, right? Like personality and situations, but it's not like one is more important than the other.
It's about how they work together.
Okay.
This chapter talks about interactionism, this idea that personality and situations actually work together to shape how we act. It's not one or the other, it's both, all the time.
So it's not a tug of war. It's more like, I don't know, a dance.
Yeah, like a dance. And the chapter talks about three main ways they interact. So first, the effect of a personality trait, it can depend on the situation, and vice versa. Like caffeine, it affects introverts and extroverts differently.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I've definitely noticed I get way more jittery after coffee than some of my friends.
Maybe it's because you're more introverted.
Maybe.
That's a possibility. Okay, second way they interact. People actually choose situations based on their personalities. So the situation itself is already influenced by who you are.
Right, like if I'm a total thrill seeker, I'm probably going to go skydiving instead of like knitting.
Exactly. And then the third type of interaction is that we actually change situations by how we act in them. Like the chapter gives this example of, if someone hostile, they might get in an argument that just escalates super quickly because of how they're behaving.
So it's like our personalities influence our choices. Our choices lead us to situations, and then those situations change because of how we act in them. It's like a big loop.
It is. It's this constant feedback loop. And then the chapter gets kind of philosophical. It talks about how maybe this whole debate, it reflects different values that we have about human nature.
Okay, now we're getting deep.
Right. So like the situationist perspective, where personality isn't so important, it might be more appealing if you really value things like equality and flexibility.
Because it kind of sees everyone as a product of their environment, right? Like anyone can achieve anything if they're given the right chances.
Exactly. It's very optimistic about human potential, and it emphasizes how much social conditions matter.
It's also kind of forgiving, right? Like don't blame people for their actions. They're just reacting to their circumstances.
Right, but then where do you draw the line? Like, where does personal responsibility come in? That's a big question. And the chapter contracts that with the kind of personality-focused view, where it's all about individual uniqueness, self-determination, and this idea that, yeah, we do have responsibility for our choices.
So acknowledging that circumstances matter, but also saying, hey, we have power to make choices too.
Exactly. And that view, it kind of celebrates the fact that we are all different, that those differences makes life interesting.
Yeah, I like that. Instead of seeing personality traits as like limitations, it's more like, hey, this is what makes me me.
Right. And what's really cool is that the interactionist perspective, it lets us hold both of these values at the same time. We can say that situations are powerful, but also that personal responsibility is important.
We're not just puppets of the environment, but we're also not like robots just running on our genes.
Exactly.
We're something way more complex than that.
Absolutely. And this chapter really pushes us to embrace that complexity. We're not just a list of traits. We're not just products of our environment. We're this amazing, constantly changing mix of both.
It's like we're solving a puzzle, but the pieces are moving around all of the time.
Uh-huh. I love that. And yeah, personality psychology is all about trying to figure out that puzzle. It's a journey, and there's always more to learn.
I'm hooked. Can't wait to see where this deep dive goes next.
Me too. This chapter was a great start thinking about how both the person and the situation shape our lives. But before we move on, there's this point about individual differences that I think is worth highlighting. And when you look at research using this Big Five framework, you see that where you fall on each of these dimensions, it can actually have a big impact on how your life goes. Like take extroversion, for example.
Oh yeah, extroversion. Everyone thinks they know what that is like. Are you a party animal or do you like staying in? But it sounds like there's more to it than just that, right?
Yeah, it's not just about being outgoing. People who score high in extroversion, they tend to report being happier, They're also more likely to be seen as leaders, and they tend to have lots of story connections.
Okay, yeah, I could see how those things would all be linked. So being an extrovert, not too shabby. What about the other four, though? Like, what kind of impact do those have?
Well, agreeableness, so those people who are, kind, cooperative, easy to get along with, turns out that's linked to some pretty amazing stuff.
Really?
Yeah, like research suggests they're less likely to have heart problems, less likely to get in trouble with the law, and they even tend to do better in their careers.
Wow, so being nice actually pays off. I like that. What about conscientiousness? I feel like that one's got to be important for success, too.
You're totally right. Conscientiousness, that's a big predictor of how well you do at work.
Yeah, makes sense.
Like think organized, responsible, hardworking. That's your conscientious person. They also tend to have stronger family ties and religious beliefs. Kind of interesting.
So basically, if you want to get things done and have a stable life, conscientiousness is your friend. Okay, I'm kind of nervous to ask about this next one, but lot neuroticism. That sounds like, well, not a fun trait to have.
Yeah, neuroticism unfortunately tends to be linked to more negative things.
Yeah,
It's basically the tendency to experience a lot of negative emotions and to feel them really intensely. So, anxiety, worry, self doubt, those are common for people higher in neuroticism. And it's not surprising that it's associated with being unhappy, having trouble coping with stress, even some health problems.
that makes sense. If you're always battling those negative feelings, it's going to affect your well-being. Okay, last one, openness to experience. That sounds a little more positive, right?
It's definitely an interesting one. Openness is linked to creativity, being politically liberal. And, well, it's also associated with being more likely to use drugs. So it can go in a few different directions depending on the person.
So openness is the wild card. It can lead to amazing things, but also some potential downsides. But okay, so the main takeaway here, it seems like personality isn't just this fluffy, abstract idea. It actually has real consequences for our lives. It affects our health, relationships, work, everything.
Exactly. Those little ways we're different from each other, they add up over time. And they shape our paths. And this is exactly why the whole person situation debate is so important. It's not just some academic exercise. It's about understanding these forces that are shaping our lives.
Yeah. And this chapter, it makes a pretty strong argument that personality matters. But it's not like it ignores situations either, right?
Right. We're back to that interactionism thing again. It's important to remember that both sides of the equation matter. It's not either or, it's both and. We're shaped by our circumstances, but we also have a role in shaping them through the choices we make, the actions we take.
We're not robots programmed by our genes, but we're not just blank slates either, right? We're this mix of both.
Exactly. And the chapter, it even goes into the kind of philosophical side of this debate, suggesting that, like, the situationist perspective, it might be more appealing if you value things like equality and flexibility.
Because it's all about how your environment shapes who you are. Like anyone can be anything with the right opportunities.
Exactly. It's very optimistic about human potential, and it really puts the focus on how much social conditions matter.
It's also kind of forgiving too, right? Like, don't blame people for their actions. They're just products of their circumstances. But then, like, where does personal responsibility fit in?
Right, that's the big question. And the chapter contrasts this with I guess you could call it the personality-focused view, where it emphasizes how unique each person is, that we have the power to choose, that we are responsible for our actions.
So it's saying that, yeah, circumstances matter, but we're not powerless. We have some control over our own lives.
Right, and it celebrates the fact that we are all different, that those differences actually make life more interesting.
I like that. Instead of seeing personality traits as like limits, it's more like, hey, this is what makes me special.
Exactly. And what's cool about the interactionist perspective is it lets you hold both of these seemingly opposite values at the same time. You can say that situations are powerful and that we still have a responsibility for our own choices.
We're not just puppets of our environment, but we're not robots blindly following our genes either. We're much more complex than that.
We are, and this chapter really encourages us to embrace that complexity. We're not just a list of traits, we're not just a product of our environment. We're this amazing, always changing mix of both.
It's like we're solving a puzzle, but the pieces keep changing shape and rearranging themselves.
That's a great analogy, and that's what personality psychology is all about, trying to understand that puzzle. It's a journey, and there's always more to learn.
I'm loving this. Can't wait to see where this deep dive goes next.
Me too. This chapter was a great start, thinking about how both the person and the situation shape our lives. But before we move on, there's this point about individual differences that I think is worth highlighting. It's so easy to think about personality as like this fixed thing, right? But this chapter really makes the point that it's way more dynamic than that. It's like who we are deep down and then how we adapt to different situations. It all works together.
It really is. And it's not like we have to pick one or the other, right? Like be consistent or be adaptable. We could be both.
Exactly. That's what's so interesting.
It's like, okay, maybe I'm generally more of an introvert, but that doesn't mean I'm going to be a wallflower at every party.
Right.
I could choose to be more outgoing, more social, if that's what the situation calls for. It doesn't mean I'm not an introvert anymore. It just means I'm not, like, trapped by it.
Exactly. And being able to adapt to different situations, that's so important, right? Think about all the different hats we wear at work, with friends, with our partners. We're constantly adjusting.
Yeah, totally. But then at the same time, it feels important to have that sense of, like, who you are deep down, right? Like, what do you stand for? What do you believe in? Those things shouldn't change with every situation.
Right. And that's where the idea of integrity comes in. Like staying true to yourself, acting in a way that matches those values, even when it's hard.
So it's about finding that balance, right? Being flexible, being able to adapt, but also staying authentic to who you are.
Exactly. And finding that balance is what makes life, fulfilling. It means you can respond to the world around you, but you also have that internal compass guiding you. You're not just going with the flow.
This whole conversation has really changed how I think about personality. It's so much more than just like giving people labels, like introvert, extrovert. It's deeper than that.
It really is. And I think when we understand that, we can be more understanding of other people too. Like everyone is going through this, trying to figure out that balance between their personality and the situation.
Yeah. Instead of judging people, we can try to like understand what might be going on under the surface, have more empathy.
Exactly. And that empathy, it goes a long way in building better relationships and honestly just creating a more understanding world.
This has been such a great deep dive. I feel like we really unpacked that whole person situation debate. We talked about personality traits, how they matter, this whole interactionism thing, even got a little philosophical.
Yeah, it was quite a journey. I think the biggest takeaway is that, this isn't the end of the conversation. Learning about personality, it's an ongoing thing. There's always more to discover about ourselves and the people around us.
And that's what makes it so fascinating. It's like we're all these walking, talking mysteries. And personality psychology gives us the tools to start figuring those mysteries out.
I love that. So yeah, keep exploring, keep asking questions, keep diving deep into those mysteries of personality.
And until next time, thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.